Bluebeard. Man thanks to MC Pompadour, James, Alex, and Katarina for asking for today's story. Sir once lived a wealthy guy whose home seemed to breed gourd in a district near the sea. His gardens were more expansive than the eye could follow. His cupboards shone with crystal and silver, and his stables were brimming with horses. However, his beard, which was thick, flowing, and such an oddly frigid shade of blue that it chilled anyone who gazed at him for too long, was more spoken about than any of the swells. He was referred to as Bluebeard. He was neither elderly nor unattractive. However, the strange hue of his beard gave his face a disconcerting appearance, as if he were a character from a tale that should not be entered. The rumors that he had been married more than once and that nobody was entirely sure what had happened to his wives were even more disturbing. What do you honestly believe occurred to each of the women he wed? Only half is aware. However, Bluebeard was wealthy, and the money has an odd way of making fear go away. Two young sisters of aristocratic but humble beginnings lived in the village. They received frequent visits from Bluebeard, who invited them and their mother to his country estate, a vast chateau with silks, tapestries, and the rooms so large they appeared to be designed for kings, offering jewels, gowns, and the laughter as if giving were in his nature. He threw banquets with music that shimmered through the night. Nevertheless, the older sister muttered, "I'm afraid of him. That beard doesn't appear natural." "I'm not afraid of the beard. It's his grin." However, comfort and the curiosity are powerful motivators. The younger sister, whom Bluebeard liked, soon saw more of the man and less of the beard because of his kind demeanor and the stunning wealth. She barely hesitated long enough to be courteous when he asked for her hand in marriage. "As my wife, would you respect me?" Indeed, after that came a wedding. The village came to marvel at the bride's good fortune, as she was grand and golden, and some people whispered their prayers to her, because everyone could sense that something silent and sinister was waiting behind Bluebeard's allure. After the wedding, life appeared to be touched by paradise for a few weeks. Every courtesy was extended to Bluebeard's new bride. Her husband had a gentle voice, loving eyes, and an abundance of gifts. Dinners were held beneath jewel-encrusted chandeliers. Music reverberated from one room to the next, and the family complied with her every request. Then he told her some news one morning. "I have to leave you for a few days, my dear. Certain business-related issues cannot wait." He has opened every chamber in the chateau, including the galleries, the wardrobes, and the strong rooms that hold silver and gold. "You are free to go wherever you want. Have fun. If you'd like, invite your pals. However, this one leads to a little room at the end of the lengthy north hallway. You can't go inside. I insist on this. My rage will be uncontrollable if you do." He gave her a thick ring of intricately carved keys. The young wife pledged to comply. With a smile, Bluebeard kissed her hand and laughed. She was happy to stroll through the open doors at first. She was amazed by every room. Chests of diamonds that shone like fragments of dawn, wardrobes brimming with silk and velvet garments, mirrors with gold frames that magnified her beauty. But as the days went by, one idea started to swirl around in her head like smoke. What might be in the room that is forbidden? The door seemed to whisper her name more and more the harder she tried to ignore it. She took the golden key and strolled down the hallway one afternoon when the house was quiet and the sunlight streamed in long beams through the windows. Amidst all the beauty, the final door appeared small and unremarkable. As she inserted the golden key into the lock, her hand shook. With a slow sigh, the door opened. Inside, she witnessed what no more heart can anticipate. The floor was black and slippery. His ex-wife's bodies, their silk sticky with dried blood, adorned the walls. There was silence and a somber atmosphere. Horrified, she let go of the key. It landed in a puddle of blood after clinking against the stones. She discovered that the stain would not go away when she picked it up. The mark stayed deep, red, and accusing regardless of how she massaged or sobbed. Bluebeard came back that same evening. With her heart racing, his wife raced to welcome him while pretending to smile and hoping he would see that one tiny key was lacking its sheen. "You've been doing fine, my love. Could you please give me my keys?" Her hands were perspiring as she passed them over one by one. His gaze sharpened as he studied the golden key. "This key is stained. Why is that?" She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. With a furious expression on his face, he turned to confront her. You entered the restricted area. Please pardon me. It was merely curiosity, a fleeting weakness. Get ready. By daybreak, you'll be dead. The key remained in her fingers like a shard of remorse as she lay shivering in her room that night. And her sister had arrived for a few days. Are you awake, sister? She now told her everything in a whisper through the door. He is aware that at daybreak he will murder me. Proceed to the tower and keep an eye out for our brothers. I'll observe. Sister, hold on tight. The young wife heard Bluebeard's boots pacing below her as she knelt in her room at dawn and prayed. Every stride was like a clock ticking away at her final moments. And shouted from the tower, Is he nothing, sister? Like a wound, time dragged on. Will they never come? From below came the thunderous voice of Bluebeard. Wife, come down. Bluebeard's footsteps were getting closer. Once more, her sister's voice drifted down. Does this what is he? Something far away. Again, wife, are you prepared? Just a second. Take a moment to offer prayers. I'll drag you by your hair if you don't come down right away. The door was hit by Bluebeard's hand. She sobbed as she collapsed to the ground, uttering a final plea that her brother's horses would soar and that time would bend. Then, like a bell, Anne's voice was heard. Sister, they're coming. Our brothers are 2 riders. They are galloping quickly. However, Bluebeard had already reached her. You've finished your time. Just a moment to pray. Please, if you must, say a little prayer. Her heart pounded like a trapdoor as she fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. Then the air was divided by a sound. The gates crashed, the hooves pounded. Just as 2 men barged through the entrance, Bluebeard turned to face the commotion. The brothers of the young wife, their faces furious and the swords drawn. The battle was brief but intense. Despite his strength, Bluebeard was clumsy due to his anger and the shame. He was knocked down where he stood by the brothers. First his blade, then his body, and the last his hideous head, with its beard still as brilliant as frost, rolled across the ground. When at last there was silence, the young woman stood shaking and couldn't believe she was still alive. Her sister sobbed, her brothers hugged her, and the servants emerged from their hiding spots while whispering prayers and blessings. Since no more priest would utter Bluebeard's name, they buried him without a ceremony. The woman who had the audacity to open the prohibited door suddenly owned his huge and shining lance. She lived in silence for a while, troubled by what she had witnessed. She spent lengthy seasons repairing the damage caused by Bluebeard's harshness, so her brothers recognized for their bravery, and they gave her sister in a beautiful diary. She remarried to a guy whose generosity was more radiant than any gem. He never denied her access to a room, concealed a key, or became irate with her. She kept a little golden key even though she was happy and had a good life. As a reminder that knowledge has a cost, the stain faded to a faint shadow. Furthermore, once innocence is lost, it cannot be regained.